name's Hayley and this is Susan, and welcome to Cancer Research Demystified. Today we're going to tell you about one of my favourite things in the lab, and that's a pipette.
Right, so if you remember back to your school days when you were doing science, you probably used a pipette like this. It's quite large and it's used to measure specific volumes of liquid and move the liquid from one container to another. Now, if you went to school like a little while ago,
Putting it politely.
then you might have mouth-pipetted, where you actually used your mouth to suck the liquid up. We definitely don't do this anymore. It's very hazardous, particularly in a cancer research lab. So we use something called a pipette aid, which we hook on top of the pipette, and then that helps us to suck up the liquid. So it just goes like this at the flick of a button, much safer.
Most of the liquids we don't use aren't pink, though, are they, Susan? And pipette boys are pink. This isn't, anything to do with keeping women in science.
No, no.
It just happens to be that way.
This is just easier to look at on camera. We don't actually spend our days moving pink liquid around the place.
So, these days, as well as things not always being brightly coloured and different coloured liquids, things are moving on in science, and actually with a lot of these genetics and genomics things that are coming in, we're using very, very small amounts of liquid. Sometimes you can barely even see it. So for that, this is no use. You can see some of the liquid remains in the pipette, it's not good enough. So we have a better tool, and that's also called a pipette, but it's very different.
So this set of pipettes can measure out anywhere from 1 milliliter all the way down to less than 1,000th of that, 1 microliter. They're very accurate and very precise, and we get them calibrated frequently to make sure that they stay that way.
So this is one of our larger pipettes. To use the pipette, we first adjust the volume to the volume we want, like this. We add a disposable plastic tip, we push down on the plunger on top, and then we dip this tip into the liquid we want to move. We then release it and it draws the liquid up, and to dispense it again we push on the plunger a second time. And there you go. And the way it does this really accurately is inside that pipette there's a chamber, and the amount of air that's displaced is very accurately calibrated, and this correlates to the amount of liquid it gives out.
This is what 1 milliliter looks like, or 1,000 microliters. You can see that it's a few small drops of liquid. Here's 100 microliters, a tenth of what we just saw. Then we've got 10 microliters, again 10 times smaller, and here's 1 microliter, 10 times smaller again. You can see this one is really, really tiny. You definitely could not mouth pipette that one accurately.
So pipettes like these are like pens to cancer researchers. We use them all the time. I bet we could pipette effectively in our sleep. We even have pens shaped like pipettes.
Nice! So these pipettes cost around a couple of £100 for each one, but obviously because we use them so much it's totally worth it. These pipette tips that we showed you cost like a couple of pennies each, but we do go through rather a lot of them. We've got 3 of these bags of empty pipette tips on the bench that someone needs to organise recycling for. So pipettes are just one of the small pieces of equipment that we use every day in the Cancer Research Lab. If you'd like to see any other kinds that we use, please do leave your requests in the comment section below. But other than that, it's goodbye from both of us, and we'll see you next time.